Okay, so now we're going to start to model this guy. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to Inventor. By the way, if you haven't done so already, I would also like you to iPro Save As, and save this dude just to your default documents or whatever. And then that way you can go into OneNote and insert File Attachment, find wherever you saved that dude, and add him there so that I have your part file as well on top of the screenshot. Okay, so in any case, we're going to model this guy. Now notice, all dimensions in millimeters. The default for Inventor is inches, so if I want millimeters, here's how I'm going to have to do that. We're going to go to a New, and I'm not just going to click Part, I'm just going to click New. Alright, so that brings this guy up. Probably your default is on English. Normally you choose a standard inches.ipt, but if you change the folder to metric, over here, here's your standard millimeters.ipt. That's what we want, so double click that. Alright. Start a sketch, XY plane. And let's start clicking through here. So generally my approach for this is I am going to draw this general outline of what you would see in the front orthographic projection. I'm going to extrude that back, and that takes care of this cut right here. And then all I'm going to have to do is add a rectangle on the side and extrude cut that through the whole thing. So let's do it. Grab my line tool and let's just start going. I'm going to start in the origin, and this time I'm just going to start moving right. So this, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. This is supposed to go 60, so I'll type in 60. Then we're going to move up. We come up 40. Then we're going to move over 25. Down 15. Back over again, and it doesn't give me a dimension for that, I don't think, but the whole thing is 60. Yeah, whatever, we'll figure it out. I'll just add this guy right here, so that's supposed to be 10, which I'll go back and add later. Alright, cool. So I'm done with my lines. I'll grab my dimension, make sure that dude says 10. There we go, now I didn't have to do any math. Alright. If you didn't do it my way, that should have ended up being 25. So, I've got my general front shape. Finish sketch. We're going to extrude him to a depth of 30. Okay? Cool. I'll also go ahead and change my visual style here. Shaded with edges the same way we did last time. Okay, so now I've got to add this cut dude down here. I've got to draw a rectangle and cut it all the way back. So I want to start a new sketch there. I can right click him and go to new sketch, or I can under my 3D tab click start new sketch and then click on that surface. Grab a rectangle, draw a rectangle, it doesn't really matter right now. And now, yeah, okay. Save often. Grab my dimension tool, and this dude is supposed to be 15. The other dimension that I'm given for the rectangle is that's supposed to be 10. And now if you look at your paper, we have an arrow pointing in there and an arrow pointing over here, so this distance is supposed to be 3. So I can grab my dimension tool and click this line, this reference edge, over, click this line, and that's supposed to be 3 on the dot right there. And then I've got another reference dimension. The vertical reference dimension is this 5 right over here. It's pointing at the distance between these two extension lines, so that's supposed to be 5 millimeters right over there. So dimension from there to there. Why isn't it not letting me? There we go. Dimension from there to there, 5. Okay, so once he's lined up, click Finish Sketch, and we're going to extrude cut. So either click Extrude up here or go to your quick wheel, Extrude. What do you want to extrude? I want to extrude that. Default is adding, but I want to subtract. So there's a couple different ways that you can do that. You could either go to this second tab, which will be a default cut, or if I stayed with the join, I could say go in the opposite direction, in which case it will start to cut. I think probably I'm going to change this to cut in that direction. And instead of distance, so you could type distance and then type how long this is, so 60 is how long it is, and that cuts through the whole thing. But rather than doing that, I'm just going to change distance to next, and that way it will simply slice through everything until it gets to the next surface, which is on the other side. Okay, so if I spin this around, you can see I've actually cut through the whole thing. And we're done. So, snipping tool, paste that into OneNote. Also, iPro save it as a part file somewhere that you can access, and then insert that part file into OneNote and move on to the next part.